The frigid waters of the Barents Sea, known for their treacherous conditions and icy depths, became a watery tomb for 118 Russian sailors, whose lives were tragically cut short. On August 12, 2000, the world watched in horror as news broke of the disaster. The Kursk, a nuclear submarine and pride of the Russian Northern Fleet, sank following a catastrophic explosion during a naval exercise. This vessel, once a symbol of naval prowess, was now lost to the depths. This tragedy sent shockwaves through Russia and the world, raising questions about the safety of Russia's aging submarine fleet and the government's handling of the disaster. The initial response was slow and fraught with confusion, leading to widespread criticism. The loss of the Kursk and its crew remains a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of the sea and the human cost of military accidents. Memorials and ceremonies continue to honor the brave sailors who perished. The disaster unfolded during a period of significant change and uncertainty for Russia. The nation was in the midst of a transformative era, grappling with its identity and future direction. The nation was still grappling with the aftermath of the Soviet Union's collapse and facing economic hardship. The economic struggles were evident in the daily lives of ordinary Russians, who were trying to navigate a new reality. The sinking of the Kursk, a potent symbol of Russia's military might, dealt a blow to national pride and exposed vulnerabilities in the country's defense capabilities. It highlighted the need for modernization and reform within the military. The tragedy also brought to light the challenges of post-Soviet Russia, including bureaucratic inertia and a lack of transparency. The government's handling of the incident was widely criticized, leading to calls for greater accountability and openness. The Kursk, commissioned in 1994, was an Oscar II-class submarine, designed to challenge the naval dominance of the United States. This submarine was part of Russia's strategic effort to maintain a balance of power during the post-Cold War era. This formidable vessel was 508 feet long with a beam of 60 feet and a displacement of 19,400 tons when submerged. Its sheer size made it one of the largest attack submarines ever built, a true titan of the deep. Its size and power reflected its intended role to engage and neutralize enemy aircraft carriers. The Kursk was designed to operate in the harshest conditions, capable of withstanding the pressures of deep-sea warfare. The submarine was a formidable hunter with 24 P-700 Granite supersonic cruise missiles, each capable of carrying a massive conventional warhead or a 500-kiloton nuclear warhead. These missiles could travel at speeds of up to Mach 2.5, making them incredibly difficult to intercept. The Kursk was not just a weapon, it was a marvel of engineering. Its advanced sonar systems and state-of-the-art navigation equipment allowed it to track and engage targets with pinpoint accuracy. It was powered by two OK-650 nuclear reactors, generating a combined 97,990 horsepower, and could achieve speeds of up to 33 knots underwater. This immense power allowed the Kursk to maneuver with surprising agility for a vessel of its size. Its double-hulled design, with a 5-meter gap between the inner and outer hulls, provided exceptional protection against underwater explosions and collisions. This design feature was crucial for its survivability in combat scenarios, making the Kursk a nearly indestructible force beneath the waves. In August 2000, the Kursk participated in a large-scale naval exercise in the Barents Sea, a show of force intended to demonstrate Russia's resurgent military capabilities. The exercise involved surface ships and other submarines, simulating a combat scenario against a hypothetical enemy. The atmosphere was tense, but the crew of the Kursk, commanded by Captain Gennady Lyachin, was experienced and well prepared for the exercise. The exercise proceeded as planned for several days. The Kursk successfully completed a simulated missile launch, demonstrating its readiness for combat. What followed next was a series of events that would forever etch the Kursk's name into maritime disaster history. On the morning of August 12, 2000, disaster struck. The day began like any other, with the sun rising over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the calm sea. But beneath the surface, a tragedy was about to unfold. At 11:28 local time, a massive explosion ripped through the Kursk's forward torpedo compartment. The force of the blast was so intense that it sent shockwaves through the water, creating a scene of chaos and destruction. The explosion, later determined to be equivalent to 100 to 250 kilograms of TNT, was detected by seismic stations as far away as Alaska. Scientists monitoring the data were initially puzzled by the readings, unaware of the unfolding disaster. The force of the blast was devastating, instantly killing most of the crew in the forward compartments. The submarine, once a symbol of naval prowess, was now a twisted wreck of metal and debris. The initial explosion was followed by a second, even more powerful blast 2 minutes and 15 seconds later. This secondary explosion compounded the devastation, sealing the fate of the vessel and its crew. This second explosion, estimated to be equivalent to 2 to 3 tons of TNT, created a massive hole in the submarine's hull, flooding the forward compartments and crippling the vessel. Water rushed in with unstoppable force, leaving little hope for those trapped inside. Despite the catastrophic damage, a small group of 23 survivors managed to gather in the rear compartment, hoping for a swift rescue. They clung to life, their hopes pinned on the possibility of being saved from the cold, dark depths of the sea. Section 5. A race against time rescue efforts and international response. News of the Kursk's disappearance sent shockwaves through Russia. The Russian Navy launched a frantic search and rescue operation, deploying ships and aircraft to the area. However, the response was slow and chaotic, hampered by poor weather conditions and a reluctance to accept international assistance. As days turned into nights, hope for the trapped sailors began to dwindle. 5 days after the sinking, President Vladimir Putin, facing mounting domestic and international pressure, finally accepted offers of help from Britain and Norway. Specialized diving teams and deep-sea rescue vehicles were rushed to the scene. Section 6. The official explanation and lingering doubts. The official Russian inquiry concluded that the disaster was caused by the explosion of a faulty Type 65-76 torpedo in the Kursk's forward torpedo room. According to the inquiry, the explosion was triggered by a leak of highly volatile hydrogen peroxide fuel, which came into contact with a catalyst, causing a runaway chemical reaction and a devastating explosion. However, the official explanation was met with skepticism by some experts and many within Russia. Alternative theories emerged, including the possibility of a collision with another submarine, either Russian or foreign, or even a stray mine from World War II. The lack of transparency from the Russian government fueled speculation and conspiracy theories, further eroding public trust. Section 7. Public outrage and political fallout. The Russian public was outraged by the handling of the Kursk disaster. Protests erupted, demanding accountability and transparency from the government. President Putin's initial silence and delayed response were heavily criticized. Families of the victims were vocal in their grief and anger, calling for justice for their lost loved ones. The incident significantly impacted Putin's early presidency, raising questions about the state of the Russian military and government responsiveness. Section 8. Salvage, Memorial, and Legacy. After much deliberation, the Russian government decided to salvage the Kursk. The operation was complex and costly, involving international experts and advanced technology. The bodies of the sailors were recovered and given proper burials, bringing some closure to their families. Memorials were erected to honor the fallen, and the Kursk disaster became a somber reminder of the perils of naval warfare. The incident led to reforms in the Russian Navy, aiming to prevent such tragedies in the future. The legacy of the Kursk continues to influence naval policies and serves as a poignant chapter in Russia's maritime history.